they have had when students and parents complain? The answer is none, and rightfully so.
Ms. Dunn, I'm going to interrupt you again. I apologize, but we agreed on 5 more minutes, and we probably should have put a timeline of a minute on each of those comments.
Okay.
As we're going through the remainders of them. So if you can go to the next one, please.
Okay. From Jeff Martin, the William S. Hart Union High School District in Santa Clarita, California has seen a convoluted journey to the opening of the new Castaic High School. Construction for the new Castaic High School broke ground by way of a controversial construction contract awarded by the Hart Board without any formal or informal bidding process. The courts have recently held this to be illegal. We are calling for a formal investigation by the school district's attorney, who is also bound by the state bar. Circumventing the competitive bidding process. Competitive bidding is a fundamental facet of contracting for the construction of public property, yet elected board members appear to have loopholed the bidding process in favor of those who financially supported their campaigns and had clear conflicts of interest based on premeditated plans made years in advance. Different companies, no bid contracts, which so happens to be Messina's main campaign contributor and employer. Linda Storley was notified of this conflict while board president took no action. We are reminding the current board president of her legal and ethical obligations to look into these matters, as you are all guardians of the public's trust. Castaic High School Construction Incorporated, filed in 2014 as a California company under the umbrella corporation Spirit Holding Incorporated, is a new company for the construction of the school, and Larry Rasmussen is in charge of the company, according to Hart District Public Relations Officer Dave Caldwell.
That's 1 minute. Keep going.
From
a new one.
From Sean Weber, we're calling for a forensic audit for the last 5 years. We believe organized criminal activity is occurring in our community and will be found when the forensic audit is performed. This is not the first request. This has been requested over and over. Again, we demand a forensic audit. State and federal law mandate bidding process. Several state and federal codes of law mandate a bidding process for such contract between the state and a licensed private entity. Randy Rage works for both companies, the Castaic High School Construction Development Manager and also Development Manager for Spirit Holding. Rage explicitly said in October 2016 that Spirit Holding formed Castaic High School Construction about 3 years ago with the hope that there would be some type of agreement to build the school, and we knew that it would need a contractor's license. Grading and target property in advance. In the meantime, Romero Canyon LLC, another subsidiary of Spirit Holding, started grading the target property from 2014 to 2016 to determine its viability for construction in advance. What is the real cost of Castaic High School, and why did Castaic High School recently have a retrofit for electrical? It's a new school. Why is the district, we the taxpayers, paying for this? How many change orders? Again, what is the real cost of Castaic High School? Oversight committees. Okay. The last two speak to specific items on the consent calendar for agenda item XD2, warrant register and revolving cash payments. A forensic audit will review financial dealings of the school district's past. In order for school boards and their employees to protect, maximize, and monitor school resources with due diligence, it's essential that all school operations and practices be reviewed and analyzed independently and constantly. The most effective way to begin and maintain such a process is to form a community-based forensic auditing committee. One of its primary tasks would be to ask critical questions of the school board. The reason for asking the questions is to determine quickly and easily whether board policies and school practices are protecting and maximizing school resources effectively, efficiently, and ethically, and that they are free from the ravages of potential or actual corruption. The reality is that some degree of corruption is likely to be found in most school districts. However, it takes critical questioning and diligent forensic review and analysis to determine whether corrupt acts have taken place, are taking place, or could be committed with relative ease. In this regard, it's vital to understand what is meant by the term corruption: breach of trust, bribery, crime, crookedness, deceit, deception, dishonestness, exploitation, evil, extortion, fraud, graft, malfeasance, nepotism, payoff. And lastly, for agenda item XD3, purchasing through California approved piggyback contracts. Also from Sean Weber. California school districts and their cronies evade competitive bidding with subterfuge. School district officials often prefer to work with construction companies that have a proven record in the district of completing projects on time and on budget without compromising quality. They also prefer working with construction company executives with whom they have professional and often personal relationships. Those relationships can become the problem when governments award contracts without competitive bidding or by supplementing price with criteria dependent on subjective scoring evaluations. The beginning of the California Public Contract Code, Section 100, lists 4 objectives of public contract law: to clarify the law with respect to competitive bidding requirements, to ensure full compliance with competitive bidding statutes as a means of protecting the public from misuse of public funds, To provide all qualified bidders with fair opportunity to enter the bidding process, thereby stimulating competition in a manner conducive to sound fiscal practices, and to eliminate favoritism, fraud, and corruption in the awarding of public contracts. Without legitimate competitive bidding, companies that can fulfill the contract at the best price can find themselves excluded from public contracts. Okay, that's the last one.
So thank you, Ms. Dunn. And I want to make sure that the public recognizes that we do appreciate the public comments. I also want to make sure that you are aware that even though we only read 5 in categories that have more than that, we do receive copies of all of the written comments to read and review. And also make sure that you are aware that while we do not necessarily respond to all of the items, there are opportunities to discuss any items that may result in a future board item at a later time. I do believe that there was some also feedback on Mrs. Dunn and her reading through the items. And I just want to share that we would not be able to hear everything that we do hear if she was not reading at the pace that she does read. So I appreciate that, Ms. Dunn. I know it takes a lot, and I appreciate you getting through the comments that you have. And I believe I saw a hand up, Mr. Messina.
Well, a couple quick things. One is those emails are attached to our minutes, I believe, right? The following week. So if people want to read them all, they are there for them to read, I believe.
They go to the board so that we are able to read all of the public comments. The comments are sent to us as the board, not to the public, but to us as the board as a part of.
I thought they were put up on the website. So I want to respond to one thing because my name in particular was brought up, and this is my comment. This is not the comment of the board as a whole. So I just want to be clear about that. But the allegations made by Mr. Webb and Mr. Martin are factually incorrect or false, as I like to say. All the processes were done under legal guidance and in public and very transparent, as a matter of fact. People spread rumors only for one reason, and it isn't for the greater good. So I'm not going to bow to this kind of fake intimidation. I'm not employed by anyone involved with Castaic High School in any way. And I won't allow people just to, throw out character assassinations against me or anybody else on this board. We have people of integrity on this board and people who work hard to make sure our kids get the best that they can get. I'll be discussing this more on my own personal Facebook page later on this week. Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Moore, point of order. Mr. Messina said Mr. Webb. I believe it was Mr. Weber. I just want to make sure that it was not.
I'm sorry, Mr. Webb. I apologize.
It's okay.
Okay. All right. We have that cleared for the minutes. Thank you for that, Mr. Webb. Okay. So we are going to move into our next item on the agenda, which is item 8A, and